So let's talk about the limit laws. So there's 7 different limit laws as we can see here. So the sum, difference, constant, product, quotient, power, and root. So they detail out rules like the sum rule says the limit of as x approaches a of f of x plus g of x. Well, that's just the limit as x approaches a of f of x plus the limit as x approaches a of g of x. Same thing follows as it's a subtraction. If it's a constant, we can actually pull that constant out to the front and find the limit of f of x, right? If we have the limit of x approaches a of f of x times g of x, we can actually separate that. Limit as x approaches a of f of x times limit as x approaches a of g of x. Same thing for the quotient. If we have a division, we can break up that limit of f of x divided by limit of g of x. So a lot of it is just rules of finding limits when we're working with all sorts of different types of equations. So a lot of times these rules here can definitely help us out in finding limits. Especially when we're talking about polynomial equations and things like that. So let's go into some examples where we're actually going to be working with some of these here. So suppose the limit as x approaches 2 of f of x is equal to 4. The limit as x approaches 2 of g of x is 5. Limit as x approaches 2 of h of x is equal to 8. We're going to compute each of the following here. So when we find the limit as x approaches 2 of f of x minus g of x over h of x here, this is a matter of just plugging in accordingly. So this would really be the limit as x approaches 2 of f of x minus the limit as x approaches 2 of g of x divided by the limit as x approaches 2 of h of x. But after this point here, we were told what each of these are. We were told that the limit as x approaches 2 of f of x, well, we were told that that equals to 4. So this part here equals 4. Minus the limit as x approaches 2 of g of x, well, hey, that equals 5. So we have 4 minus 5 over the limit as x approaches 2 of h of x, which equals an 8. So this is really just 4 minus 5 over 8, which is going to give us a negative 1/8. Moving on to the next example, we have the limit as x approaches 2 of 6 times f of x times g of x. So what we can do, this 6, we can pull out to the front. So think about it. So we're just pulling this out to the front. So it's going to be 6 times the limit as x approaches 2 of f of x times the limit as x approaches 2 of g of x. Substitute in here. Dropping down the 6, we know the limit as x approaches 2 of f of x is equal to a 4. We know the limit as x approaches 2 of g of x is equal to a 5. So we really just have 6 times 4 times 5, which is 120. Last example of this kind here. So the limit as x approaches 2 of g of x to the third power just says that this is going to be the limit as x approaches 2 of g of x raised to the third. Now, the limit as x approaches 2 of g of x, again, we know that. We do know that that is a 5. So this turns out to just be 5 cubed, since we do know that that equals to 5. And 5 cubed is equal to 125.